Hello, creatures. So you'll very quickly notice that my voice is not at all matching what my facial expression is doing in game. Yes, we had a bit of a hiccup as far as recording goes in this one, and it is really unfortunate because, well, this was probably one of my better attempts at the speedrun. So I'm just going to do a full game voiceover in this section. More than likely, I've titled this something that I found a new tech that's going to help out a ton. This is because I did a little bit of practicing in between the games. I found out a few ways to get the golden fleece way earlier than I was trying before, and we're also pretty much just going to let the villagers starve. So unfortunate for them, but it is going to help out our speed immensely. So I'm not quite certain, don't remember what I was talking about here, which is really unfortunate because I felt like I had a really good flow. I was really into the commentary. I had a lot of caffeine going on, so I really was feeling it here. I really wish that there could have been some way for me to save it. Although right now I can actually see all of my voice and how it is actually being picked up. So hopefully, very hopeful, that I don't have to go and do this again for another hour of recording. So here you'll notice that we actually were able to skip the cutscene. That's because we tabbed in and out of the cutscene and it immediately breaks the cutscene. So that saves us a good 15-30 seconds, I don't know. And then also we rolled straight past everyone. You don't have to fight anyone at the first stage. You can just jump straight past them and go straight into the dungeon. Totally optional fights. It's really just to teach you kind of the basic mechanics of dodge rolling and everything. So here we're just gonna try to rush through the whole first stage. I think I'm not certain, but I feel like I end up messing up my dodge roll. I really wanted to try and save that until at least later on in the game. You'll notice later that it definitely could have saved me at least 1 or 2 hits. It would have been very nice to hold on to that until we had the golden fleece. I could have helped out quite a lot, but you know what? It's okay. We haven't taken the damage yet. I don't know when it happens, but I'm pretty sure it happens very soon. Basically what happens is we get a absolute ton of monsters and my brain just fries and I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Oh yeah, so I'm also trying to do a lot more dodge rolling just because it's way faster than normal walking and sprinting. Just a significant improvement. I do believe actually we were pretty close to being on track for world record in this stage, which was really nice. Oh, I did also update a bunch of the markers. So you'll see that I changed it. We still have tutorial, which is this stage here. And first Darkwood, third, and then Leshy, and you'll see that it goes on to final boss. Don't worry, it scrolls. You probably noticed that in the last video. If you haven't seen the last video, go check it out. It's on the channel right now. So basically, let's see, we do pretty decently on time, and then I didn't add any base time markers or anything in here because, well, it's kind of not really a necessary time for us to use, so I'm going to spend as little time as I can in the base. And I don't think I actually tapped the tutorial marker there. I think it actually did it automatically. So I think if I were using the scripted tutorial, the scripted speed run, whatever I needed to track it, I think it would do it automatically, but instead I try and focus on doing it myself because I wanted each dungeon so that way I could have the splits a little bit better marked up, so that way it was a lot easier to tell if I was actually on a good time or not. And I believe we should still have the time saved for the next run, so it should help out a lot. And then, oh yeah, I was complaining about the last time I did a practice. I actually only got four logs out of one of these trees, so I had to chop down a couple of extra ones just to make up for that. You need five lumber and 2 rock to be able to create the cooking area. And then I try to bump in the mic, and then I try to pick up the 2 berries that we need to make the food. Yeah, not doing too bad. I think that I forget later on to actually do the dodge rolling. Unfortunate, but it's okay. And I actually got I think I was really excited about the single cycle food. I was really worried last time when I was doing it that I was going to accidentally burn the food, but it turned out all right. Turned out acceptable. So now we're gonna go straight back to the dungeon. Now I think I'm discussing there is a skip that we will end up using later on where we can duplicate our followers. Now it only works for opening the doors, and I don't think it'll work for the final boss, so I'm pretty sure we still need 20 followers. But basically the way that it works is you get 7 followers and then you keep on multiplying them by jumping out of the area before it can load and recognize that you've left. So it thinks that you've got an extra 5-7 followers every time that you do it. So it's really, really handy in getting everything opened up and then going on to the next glitch, which I will talk about later once it shows up in the video. So how are we doing? I guess we didn't actually get hit. That's surprising. Oh, I might be thinking of my practice runs. And so fun bit of information. I just got a Steam Deck. So I've been practicing Cult of the Lamb on my Steam Deck. Turns out the joystick layout, very different to me, and I keep getting hit very, very often. I cannot get very far on the Steam Deck. I don't know why it is. The joysticks are just in a slightly different spot. And I have to hold the Steam Deck in a less than comfortable way, but it's still not too bad. I think once I get used to it, I'll really enjoy it. Honestly, I didn't expect it to get here as quickly as it did. Well, I ordered it probably about a week or so ago, so not too quickly. But when I got the notification that it was being sent out to me, I thought it was going to be at least another week. I'm much too used to 2-day Amazon shipping, really. But I am very, very excited to have the Steam Deck on deck. Been playing, let's see, what have I been playing on the Steam Deck? Like I said, I've been playing a lot of Cult of the Lamb, just really trying to practice my speed runs whenever I can, because the big reason that I wanted the Steam Deck is my normal PC that I like to play games on a lot is a big hulking mass desktop that does not move from my basement office. So when I'm upstairs hanging out with the family, I figured having the Steam Deck would actually be quite nice and portable for me to actually play a couple of these games. I tried doing Steam Link, I think it is. I tried playing it over my phone, and my computer's just close enough, just within range, that I can actually use one of my controllers at a long distance. It does disconnect though, so that was getting really frustrating. Plus, playing a game like Cult of the Lamb where you actually need to have a reaction time, it actually is quite difficult. It's quite difficult to play with any amount of lag, really. So I tried playing it with Bluetooth controllers on one of my, from like the Joy-Cons, just to mess with it. And the input delay is just noticeable enough that I get hit all the time playing with those. It could also just be the Joy-Cons are not the best. But yeah, so Steam Deck, really enjoying it. Been playing lots of Cult of the Lamb. What I've really been wanting to try and play is Grounded. Oh, there is the first dodge roll that I accidentally let happen. Unfortunate. Yeah, so I think the big goal is just to not take any damage until pretty much Silk Cradle. If I can avoid taking damage until Silk Cradle, that would be huge for us, because it would save us at least 1 reset on our Golden Fleece. Because if you didn't know this, the single tutorial dodge roll that saves you the 1 bit of damage, that can stay with you until you first take the damage, until you first get attacked. It can be super handy if I were good enough to never take damage. But you've seen a few playthroughs of this. Clearly, I am dying a few times, and that requires you to take some damage. This fight going much better than the very first time I did it, though, so this is great. I don't know how. It must have been so long since I fought that boss the first time that I just could not handle it. I think I came to this one with half a heart and didn't know what was going on, and I think I just let him tackle me. So it was super basic. Shouldn't have let him get me, but he did. So here, I think I've picked up stone and lumber, which is super handy for building up the temple. So I try to focus on getting those resources so that way I don't have to actually create them or go and mine them myself, because mining takes much longer than just simply picking up the extra resources. And after going over it for a while, I did notice that we don't need to pick up any other resources after this. We only need gold, because we will be trying to purchase followers from Helob. I don't know when Helob unlocks exactly. I think they unlock once we get at least another one of the dungeons opened up. You can find Helob on your journey. That doesn't seem to unlock them immediately, so I think it's okay. Yeah, kind of I'm kind of sad that the base building part of the game is not at all a requirement or anything for speed running. Really unfortunate, because it was actually the more fun part for me. The dungeon, going through and fighting things, that was fine. But I actually enjoyed the base building, kind of managing the cult and getting everything built up. I do think they could improve how you can decorate your cult, because the pathways that they give you, it's a little limited. You can't go over the very center, and it looks, in my opinion, it doesn't blend very well into the grass all the time. So I've seen some people use them as little markers for where people are sleeping or where the farm is. That's pretty okay. That seems pretty all right, because you can use it to really mark it out and section it off. But that I wanted to use it as like pathways between sections, and it doesn't seem to have that good of functionality there. Honestly, I don't think they have even a grass tile, or they do have a grass tile and it's not the same color grass tile. That really bugs me, honestly. Yeah, and then in my previous playthrough, I just used the path tile to get rid of all the extra foliage, and it felt really empty. So obviously I could have used decorations, but I don't really have the eye for decorations, I suppose. So this is another part that I'm not too certain about. I wonder if it is worth spending a little bit of extra time in here getting the extra devotion. So that way you can increase your weapon strength, because a stronger weapon means that you can get through a dungeon quicker. But is the time that I'm investing in setting it and starting a sermon actually going to help us get through dungeons quick enough to make up for the sermon itself? Because it takes a good 30 seconds to get a sermon going, whereas I'm using that word a lot. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe just going along with level 1 weapons would be fine. I mean, I'm never upgrading anyone's devotion or levels or any of that, so they're all only giving me a single point. So later on, when I decrease my cult population down to about 2 or 3, it makes it very difficult to progress quickly through. So I might only get about 3, maybe 2 or 3 levels in weapons, whereas, yep, stuck on that word apparently. Right now we are using the level 1 weapons, and those on their own don't have a ton of damage, and I'd have to look at the damage scaling to see exactly how much extra damage you get. Sometimes it seems like you only get 0.1 damage. I'm not sure if that's even really worth it, but you will notice later on in the run, once we get into Silk Cradle, that it will actually, it's gonna be a big difference, because we will take our level 1 weapon into Silk Cradle and do practically nothing with it. It really just tickles them. So in Silk Cradle, it is super important to go completely no damage, take no damage, because the only way to actually get your weapon to do a decent amount of damage is to get the golden fleece fully stacked up. And because we are working on the most recent patch, I just don't want to bother with downgrading my version. Obviously, if we downgrade it to level, or to whenever golden fleece was 10% per stack, that, you know what? When I do the real run, I think I'll actually downgrade it to the version that has 10% stacking. Because my initial thought here was I didn't want to do it, because I didn't want to invest the time into downgrading and getting that working. But honestly, later on, I get a very high amount of stacks, and that is with it just stacking at 5%. So obviously, if I were to double that, it would be a huge benefit to have it stacking that quickly. And it could also help us clear out a few dungeons. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking going along with the level 1 weapon and never spending any time doing any sermons might actually be the faster route, if I can set myself up with the 10% stacking. Because, you know, even if we go with 10% stacking, it doesn't matter so much if we take a hit and get reset, because it's going to stack up way quicker. Also, something else that I'm doing here is I'm collecting all of the devotion, I guess is what it is. I'm collecting all of the devotion, and I don't need to, because, well, we aren't going to be upgrading the cult anymore. So I realized way too late that that is actually a big time investment waste that I'm doing there. So I I've acknowledged that, and I will probably no longer be touching it. I mean, I've made a lot of progress from my first couple of attempts where I thought I needed to get everyone leveled up to level 5 or whatever, so that way we unlocked everything. Now, if I were going to do a 100% unlock, then the cult would be very important. So that is a totally different route. Takes a whole bunch of different ways to do it. So far, not too many people have done 100% completions on Cult of the Lamb. So that, it'd be very easy to get a world record if I went for something like that, because, well, if no one else has done it, my first attempt will be a world record. Although I don't know how much longer that's going to last, because I think that looks very appealing to a lot of people to see it and go in and be the first submission and whole world record, right? Let's see, what else are we doing? I guess we're just kind of farming through the dungeon, just trying to get through it. Ooh, wow, I've been apparently recording my voice for long enough that my computer screen shut off. All right, I'm not gonna lie, doing extra commentary over this is actually a little more difficult than I was expecting. So I think I might bring down the commentary just a little bit and just let the gameplay go for itself. So obviously this is not going to be our submission to the world record, but this is probably our best attempt so far. I think I might cut over to when we actually do some of the big speed jumps, and some of the glitches that save us a ton of time. So I'll do a little bit of commentary over those and a little bit of commentary here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be a much less commentary, gameplay focused showing of the game. All right, we are back again. Hello. I'm going to be doing a little bit more commentary here just to kind of explain what's going to be happening here. So I think I actually kind of mess up and don't remember what Ratau was trying to get me to do. So right now I'm trying to get all of the extra followers that I need, and then I kind of have an issue where I expected Ratau to already be up and telling me to do something, but I forgot that I needed to go in and actually perform the ritual. So I'm going to go and perform the ritual and get Ratau to come out. So right now we are at the 7 follower threshold that we needed. Now I think hopefully I do this before I actually go and start doing the glitch. But if I don't, it's one of those extra improvements that I can do. Essentially, I need to do a sermon with these 7 followers. And, oh, awesome. It looks like I did remember to do that. So the reason that this is super important is because it's going to give me that next step, next stage into kind of leveling up. Now, we don't get an extra level into our weapons until the next tick, which is a little bit more difficult. It's about 11 points. But because I gave the 7 followers, we were able to get a couple of extra points for that, which is super, super handy. I possibly could be doing sermons every day. I already mentioned this earlier. I don't know if it's more efficient to just simply do a sermon every day and get the extra points to then create the extra damage in your weapons. I'm still debating on whether or not that's worth it. It is a lot of extra time investment, but I don't know, maybe it could be useful. So what I'm going to be doing here is, instead of going to Ratau's house, I'm going to start doing the follower duplication glitch. Now, the way that this works is you go to Anura, you start it, and you start mashing the dodge roll button and the downward direction so that we can leave the area as quickly as possible. So that way the followers do not recognize that you have left, and then they don't deload. I've made a lot of mention of this, but the game kind of takes your input before actually doing anything with the game. So a lot of things will happen where the followers like this will still be hanging out, or you can interact in dialogues and leave a screen very quickly. I don't know how to feel about it. I kind of like it in that it lets me be a little bit more fluid in my movements, and obviously it gives me these big skip glitches. So yeah, we're unlocking a bunch of these doors that require significantly more than 7 followers. I honestly don't think that I even needed to duplicate anymore after that. I could have probably just opened the door, but I wanted to be absolutely certain. So you'll see that like the deer has several layers to them. Is because there are like 3 deers sitting over there. So that's why we're able to unlock all of these. Unfortunately, the duplication does not count towards our sermons or anything, and they reset immediately after we try and go somewhere. So what I'm trying to do here is the teleport glitch. Once you've opened the map, if you are spamming E and kind of moving your mouse in a circle around this little area here, like right where my mouse is there, that's where you want to focus it, you can actually head straight to Midas's cave. This is a good 3-4 dungeons early before anything, and this is the absolute quickest guaranteed way to get the golden fleece talismans that you need. So I'm just going to sacrifice. This is why it was very important that I did the sermon before doing this, because I'm going to sacrifice 4 of the followers, bringing us down to 3, and it will give us all of the talisman pieces that we need, and then we can create the golden fleece. And this is where the run really starts to take off, because once we have that golden fleece, we can infinitely stack our damage. Luckily, yeah, I don't know if you were reading through any of the debugs or any of the dev tracker, whatever they were doing. I don't remember the actual name for what they're called. Anyhow, basically they capped it at 200% a couple of patches ago. The patch notes, that's what they're called. They capped it at 200, and everybody was really mad about that. So they compromised and brought it to a 5% stacking. So given the patch that I'm in right now, we can only go up by 5% at a time. When I do the real run, I'm going to go for the patch where it is a 10% stacking. So that way we can really max up our damage and potentially one-shot the bosses. That should help us out a ton if we can go full damageless and just keep one-shotting everything. Yeah, that's pretty much the way that every speedrun in the speedrun category is. It's all at that one version. I personally would prefer that speedruns had to keep up with versioning, so that way it gave room for new improvements, or if they patched out a certain bug, you could go and replay it and try to submit your own run separately from whoever was God tier with a certain glitch. You know, so now we're at 4 stacks on our talismans. This is going to be what puts us to the golden fleece. Oh, and I made a mistake. I thought that you could actually buy these with normal coins. Nope, it is golden bars. It is 10 golden bars. So we cannot afford that at all. So I end up running back and leaving. It could have been super helpful because it is a resurrection, and given how I play the game, being able to resurrect myself is very, very handy. Unfortunately, it is night, so we are going to get the debuff for waking people up for this, but it's okay because we kind of need the golden fleece and we can't really wait the time that is necessary to, well, actually, I guess it was day 3 by the time I did that. Oh, does making the golden fleece not wake anybody up? That's actually super handy. Ah, I did not know that. Actually, it also looks like we aren't getting any sleep debuffs for not having a bed for anybody. That's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. So you'll also notice that the labels that we have on our speed run go Leshy and then golden fleece. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch that around so that way it's golden fleece and then Leshy, because just the order in which we do these seems to be that way around. And then, I think I'm going to leave everything else as is, because the real time saver that we try to go for is doing Silk Cradle instead of going into Anura. The reason that we do this is because if you can take, oh, there's the first bit of damage and I'm dead. that was unfortunate, but it was the dagger and it was very early in the run. The dagger and the claws are my absolute least favorite weapons. I can handle the dagger, but the claws are really just awful. They don't do any damage and you need to get a full combo off. And you very rarely have enough time to get a full combo. And even sometimes I feel like the combos don't work, even when I'm sitting there spamming it. So I don't know. That's my own separate complaint about it. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they won't. I opt for they probably won't. But it would be nice if they would. Let's see. So what else am I trying to do here, really? I don't exactly remember. Oh, I think I'm going to die is what I'm trying to do. This kind of starts to snowball in a way that I think I just got a little upset with how that little bit went. Taking that little bit of damage really hurts, but at least, oh, this is a, yeah, this character with the arrows, in every dungeon, they are one of my least favorites because they continue to spawn more and more creeps. So they'll spawn the arrow, the rangers, and others. The rangers are the worst. They're the worst one for them to spawn because I am very rarely paying enough attention to the arrows. You can throw them back for it, or hit the arrows back for a lot of damage, but I don't really pay enough attention to do that. Let's see, what weapon am I going to get this time? Okay, so we did get the axe once again. I think this is actually the run where I don't die. Luckily, we did get that one extra half heart, giving us a little bit of extra spare room for taking and dealing damage. So what's funny with this one is, even though this is a kind of golden or silver uncommon, I guess, why am I taking so much damage? Man, I must have really just fallen off when I was trying to do this extra bit. I think this is where I was thinking that it might actually have been worth it to not get the golden fleece before doing this run, because I wouldn't have taken so much damage. All right, well, with that all kind of said and done, I think I'm going to go and skip to the boss fight, because there were a couple of things that happened in there that I was really kind of nervous about. I wasn't quite certain if I was going to make it all the way through it. Ooh, there we go. Getting a little bit of extra protection here because, well, I am on the last half part. That is very scary.
Jamsaka, Jakamalno, Bertsaka, Lakamon, Salo, Jakamapayana.
Hey, look at that. We managed to come back from the brink of death with the little half heart that we left off on a little bit ago. So looking a lot better. And now we're actually getting into the boss fight. Fantastic. Yeah, given the expression on my face, it looks like I was pretty stressed out from being one hit away once again from dying. But as I thought earlier, this was the run that got me all the way to the boss fight. And it looks like we swapped out the spell for a much better Seeking Missiles. I like this one a lot for clearing a room. It does a lot of damage and is less likely to miss. There are times, though, where Leshy will jump up, jump down, get up, get around. Sorry, I just had to say it. Where he goes underground and invincible, that it does kind of miss, and I mistime that. So that is unfortunate when it happens. But it's going to put out a pretty decent amount of damage given our near 300 damage bonus that we have here, which is super handy. And I would like to remind you that if I were playing in a previous patch, this would be 600% damage. So I definitely think that we are going to have to do that, just simply to reduce the amount of hits that we would have to do to Leshy down to half. I almost took damage there. And that was probably the quickest, cleanest fight that I've had against Leshy for a minute. And there we go, the first Heart of the Heretic. And we will be I am very pumped, as you can tell, because that was really stressful last time. It was what ended up killing the run a little bit, just dying at the Leshy fight. Oh, I also found out that I don't think I have to pick up these scrolls anymore. So I don't have to spend the 30 plus seconds waiting for the scrolls to stop telling me new things. So if I just don't sit directly next to chests when they open, I think I'll be able to save several minutes throughout the run. So that could be a big time saver. So noted for my next playthrough, which will be super handy. Ooh, you get 30% for no damage in the bishop fight. I know that you get 20% for no damage in a boss fight. and 20% for just simply finishing a bishop, but didn't realize that it also stacked up a little bit and gave you an extra 10% for no damage. So now the goal is going to be to head to Silk Cradle, and you'll see what I was talking about earlier, where my level 1 weapons are going to be a little bit less than sufficient for actually fighting. It's going to be a little bit difficult to actually kill a few things, but once we start getting the damage bonus ramping up, then we are able to do quite a bit. And honestly, I don't have to do this where I'm rolling down here and trying to perform a sermon. Oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do the crown, so that way I can actually give myself an extra heart. Oh, and I believe I set up the famine so that way I could save everybody from dying from starvation. I think that might be probably the only thing that I actually want to use just to keep everybody from dying, really. I could potentially have gone for the feast. It does give an extra 30 bonus points to faith, which could be super, super handy. But I don't think it lasts for nearly as long, and especially since some of the bosses tend to kind of cut your, they'll really hurt your followers in taking away their hunger, making them super sick, doing all kinds of things that are really annoying to deal with. So now we've upgraded and we have an extra black heart. That's going to be super, super helpful. It'll give us one more bonus hit. And I am going to try and perform the sermon. I should have gone to pick up the extra followers. See, my initial idea was I was going to keep all the followers in stock, keep from indoctrinating them, so that way they don't age, they don't get sick, they don't want to fight you. They should be totally fine, invulnerable in the little holding area. That's at least my thought behind it. So here's what I was talking about before, where Hello shows up and we can start picking up bonus followers. I think probably in my next recording for this playthrough, I am going to practice a little bit of just simply trying to get my weapons leveled up and see if that really helps out a whole lot, because like I said, here in a second you will see just how much we are. Oh, and we're starting with the claws. I think I actually go and just reset myself. Am I just gonna go in there and reset? No, do I actually fight? Oh no, I think I actually try to fight with this. Come on, just reset. Honestly, the claws do, you see how little damage I'm doing generally, like with this? That's pretty, okay, that's a very similar low amount of damage that I'm doing with everything else. But I really should just reset myself and get myself sent back to camp, so that way I can get a much better weapon. I'm thinking either a sword or an axe could be super handy. I do think that also after defeating this bishop, you get god weapons for some reason. No, you get the hammer. You get the hammer. You don't get god weapons. But the hammer is super helpful because it has a crazy strong one hit. It's something like probably 4 times as strong as the sword, but 4 times as slow. So a little difficult. So here's kind of an example of what I'm trying to break when I am doing these run-throughs. By defeating Shamora first and then going to Anchor Deep and then Anura, you kind of break some of these cutscenes where they don't show up anymore because you defeated the heretics. So they actually won't show up. Now, what I'm doing here is, so they don't show up and it saves a ton of time. So what I'm doing here is I'm really worried because I saw him throw his sword at me, try to swing at me a couple of times, and I was worried that I wasn't going to see it happen. So that's what I was trying to avoid. And unfortunately, I also let this guy just kind of swing at me and totally miss it. Ah, man. I do not care for the claws. I wish that they did a similar amount of damage throughout the entire fight instead of this, where they just kind of mix a little bit. Oh no, the fireball got me. All right, well, that's going to do it for this playthrough, this run, this test run of my speed run. So I think I will be coming back at this. I'll be coming back at this attempt later on. So if you want to see more progress in the speed run category and kind of see what I can do to improve my gameplay and potentially get a world record, Please make sure you're subscribed, leave a like on the video to help out the algorithm, and leave a comment below letting me know any tips or tricks that you've done to play the game quicker. Hopefully I'll see all you creatures in the next one. Bye-bye.